The opinions expressed in the following paid program do not necessarily represent those of WJFK, CBS Radio, its employees, or sponsors. This is Minor Consulting Terp Talk, 60 minutes of Maryland Terrapins news and commentary, and your phone calls at 866-950-5225. Now from the CBS Radio studios in Baltimore, here are the hosts of Terp Talk, Bruce Posner and Wayne Viner.
Good morning, Washington. This is Wayne Viner. You're listening to Terp Talk. Sitting in with me today is Mason, the intern, and Darian's on the other side of the glass this morning. Guys, it's a big sports weekend as always. A great day to be a Terp. We'll be talking about Terrapin basketball, football recruiting. Get to Freddie later. Talk a little Preakness, the Caps, the Wizards. Big news today. Terrapin lacrosse has Bryant. The men's side, you go to the Final Four. And the women's side, Duke comes to College Park at 12 o'clock today for the women to go to the Final Four. And I know Mason said, boy, I'd like to go out and see the women's game today. It looks like it's going to be a great day for it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. They take on Duke at 12.
And then there's nothing better than beating who?
Duke.
Of course. I'm going to start off today with basketball, because it looks like the basketball defections have stopped as Charles Mitchell, we call him Chuck, the power forward, decides to stay at Maryland. He's one of your favorite guys, isn't he, Mason?
Oh, yeah, he was my favorite player on the team.
Biggest moment from last year?
I think it was definitely the Duke game. He kept Maryland in it early, and then he just missed that shot at the end.
Boy, that shot at the end that rolled off, a little hook shot, really would have changed the way you probably looked at the whole season. It could have been the third time in a row that Turgeon and the Terps beat Duke. But are you happy that he's staying?
Yeah, definitely. I think Maryland needs the experience at the big man position.
And he's a big man. He's a wide body. But, you know, the book on Chuck is that he really isn't an offensive force, but he does play a lot of hustle minutes and gets some rebounds. You were talking earlier that Michael Tchaikovsky, it's not actually Tchaikovsky, I just call him that, it's also now listed as a power forward, and he's a guy that Maryland's bringing in out of Europe. You know anything on the background with him?
Yeah, I looked at some of his stats from when he was in Europe. He scores a lot of points, he gets about 10 rebounds, and he's about 7 feet tall.
We could use 7 feet tall. As we keep joking on the air, most guys are listed at 7 feet tall. You actually see them, and they come out to be about 6'8". But last week on this air, you heard from Alex Lee, who writes for Rivals on Maryland. He covers Maryland. And he said that he's absolutely certain that Trayvon Reed is actually 7 feet tall. There's a joke with Shaq was he was 7 feet tall. He got to Maryland. He ended up being about 6'8". So I was looking through the Washington Post, and one of the articles that got some attention about the Terps basketball is, and I'll quote here, that the offense devolved into hero ball, players trying to win games individually, and it got so bad that the Virginia game last season, Turgeon installed a 3-man lateral weave near midcourt that served no purpose other than to stop his players from shooting too fast. Now, for those who don't know what the lateral weave is, you want to try and describe it, or should I?
It's when 3 people about midcourt get in a line and they just toss the ball laterally backwards just to take up some time.
Yeah, it's a weave and they run it up high. I liked it. There's a lot of teams that use the weave to get into their offense, make sure everybody touches the ball. But like the quote said, Maryland had to use it because they were afraid that guys were shooting too fast. Now, a lot of the folks that were maybe the symptom of shooting too fast seem to have moved on. And I'm wondering if the intelligence of the basketball team, as far as being on the court, their basketball intelligence is actually, the IQ's gone up. Do you think with Wiley coming in and Melo Trimble at the point, you hoping that the team gets a little more basketball savvy out there?
I'm definitely hoping, but I'm not really sure. We haven't seen them play yet, but I think it will. I don't think we're going to see people run up the court, pass it twice, and shoot a 3.
I think, last year, some of the time passing it twice, even completing that pass would have been an upgrade over what we saw. I've been watching this team for a long time. Watching Maryland basketball for a long time. And the plays that were made last year and some of the passes and the ill-timed shots, it was just killing to the basketball spirit. And Maryland lost 5 games as a last possession type of game. And I know it's wishful thinking because it didn't happen, but my goodness, if you win a couple of those, I think it would have changed everything. I'll go back to what you said about if Charles Mitchell makes that hook shot at Duke, that might have been enough to get Maryland to a postseason tournament. And I know Freddie's out there in Boca and Bruce, who's away from the studio today listening in, would probably say that's one game and the goal was not to get to the NIT. The goal is not only to get to the NCAAs, but to win a couple games and be a top 20 school. And that's what I'm hearing from a lot of the boosters who put up the big money, is that winning a couple more games would have been fine, but that's not one. We're not here to win 19 games. We're here to be a championship contender. Basketball is the premier sport at Maryland, and it's just not happening at the moment. So it's enough of an editorial for me because there's still more Maryland news out there. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Mason, you were on air talking about Cliff Warren, who came in to be, at that time, he was supposed to be the director of basketball operations. Now, where was Cliff before he came to Maryland?
He was at Jacksonville State down in Alabama. He won games there, and eventually the bottom fell out of the team, and they let him go.
They let him go. Before that, he was the lead recruiter at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, he recruited Jarrett Jack in their final 4 years.
So he had some success. He's been around for a long time. So he comes to Maryland as the director of basketball operations. And then apparently after working with Mark Turgeon for a little bit, Cliff's going to end up being the top assistant on the bench. And that brings up a guy who went to Maryland, graduated in 2008, Nima Omidvar. Now, you were doing some research on Nima. Right now he's at NC State. And what was he doing? What's he doing there?
He's in his 3rd season at NC State as the team's video coordinator.
Right.
He was an assistant coach at Bowie State in 2010 and 2011. He helped them get to a 23-6 season.
23-6 isn't bad. And they went to the Division II tournament. And before that, he said he graduated from Maryland in 2008. And this is a guy who's looking to become the director of basketball operations at Maryland. And we'll get back to what that job means. You also mentioned that he coached in Rockville at Jewish Day. And you have what years that was?
That was from 2000 to 2004.
Okay. So he's been successful. He's been coaching along. He was at Paul VI Catholic in Northern Virginia. They were a top 20 school in high school. And since 2009, he came in to the college ranks under Bobby Lutz in Charlotte. And now Bobby Lutz is an assistant for the Wolfpack, so Nima followed him there. So again, Nima Omidvar is being mentioned as the guy who's going to be director of basketball operations for Mark Turgeon. And that job is booking travel, making schedules. I mean, the team, who they play. So who are you going to play next year type schedule. And then making day-to-day schedules for what happens with the basketball team. So that's interesting stuff, and I hope it makes the team better. We being the Maryland basketball program, was looking at a few transfer guards. Now, there's over 500 kids who are transferring, which is a lot, and everybody calls it an epidemic. And I think it is what it is, but 500 is a lot of transfers. And we were looking at a guy named Ian Childs to come into Maryland, and he went to Tennessee. So who do we have next, Mason?
We have Rashad Pack. He played for North Carolina A&T. He actually transferred to there from Florida International. And he's a shooting guard. He's listed as a shooting guard. He gets about mid-teens points and like 3 assists. So I'm not sure if it's really what Maryland needs.
So you're on the bandwagon of we got to find a point guard someplace, an actual point guard?
Yeah, definitely.
I think the whole team's going to end up being 4 shooting guards and, I don't know, what do you want, 5 centers? I think that'd be a good mix for the way we're heading. Darian, is that the way to put a team together?
No, you definitely need a point guard, and you can't win without a point guard, especially in today's game. I mean, I don't want to, obviously it's the college game, but, you just look at the NBA, the point guard has really evolved over the years. So you definitely need a point guard. You can't have, like you said, 5 shooting guards and 5 big men. You need somebody to get them the ball. So eventually you got to go out there and get a point guard.
Yeah. It's I don't know if you want to call it troubling, but the way this team's going to be constructed, you're going to have one point guard who is
Romello Trimble.
Right, and he's a DC Player of the Year. He's a legit All-American and all that. And then you're going to have a bunch of guys who just aren't point guards. And I know I got laughed at on the Baltimore show because I said that the only other point guard you're going to have is Varun Ram. That's right. And everybody else is going to be a sort of a fill-in. So if it ends up being Des Wells for a couple minutes or Varun Ram, it's not really a point guard. And somewhere down the road, I think that'll probably hurt the team. But heck, it's not up to the fans. And the team's going to they're going to recruit who they want to. And hopefully it works out this time. So switching gears over to football, because I'm still super excited about this Big Ten schedule coming up. And I felt that there was going to be some momentum going forward. And we started out with E.J. Donahue, who's an offensive lineman out of Ligonor, which is near Frederick. And he was our first recruit and really haven't done much since then. It's been about 9 months. And now, according to the Baltimore Sun, E.J. is looking to open up his recruiting again, which is not good news. Now, he hurt his knee playing lacrosse, and he's actually been working with Maryland on how to get the rehabilitation right and possibly ready to hit the field for the football season coming up. And I saw a story on Badger 24/7, on the 24/7 network, that even they had a story, this is Wisconsin Badgers, that EJ might be opening up his recruiting again. And, of course, Penn State's after him probably, the Badgers. He's a big offensive lineman. He'd fit in well with the Big Ten, but I'm just worried that he's not going to stay at Maryland. Now, last year there's a kid named Jared Cohen who was a verbal commit. Mason asked, what's the difference between somebody says they're committed? Right now we're talking about people who are verbal commitments. That is, they told their coaches and they told whoever's recruiting them that, hey, I'm going to come there. Now, that's not a binding thing. You could change your mind anytime, or the school could say, thank you for committing, but we don't really want you. You don't become a football commit until the first week in February of your senior year in high school. So that would mean that the next group that could commit, which is the E.J. Donahue class, would commit in February of 2015. That's a long way from National Letter of Intent Day. Now, in basketball, you guys probably know there's an early signing period. So you can sign before the actual signing day, and that probably works well. I'd like to see that for football, because the idea where you give somebody your word and then you sit there for some kids 2 years, 18 months, a year, and it's not official, it really can hurt both the player and the school. In Maryland's case, if you were holding open a spot for a guy like E.J. Donahue and you don't recruit another offensive lineman in his position, and then the kid at the end says, I'm not coming, you don't have any options. And that's what's been going on with Maryland football recruiting as of late, is that they're after 4- and 5-star national guys. The guys say, great, I'm really interested in Maryland. You're on my top 10 list or my top 5 list. Maryland doesn't go out and recruit the guys they used to get. And what I'm talking about is like back when I was in school used to get, where you'd get some solid 2-, 3-star guys who really wanted to be at Maryland. Now, I know, Mason, you are absolutely a Terp, but if that opportunity came up, you'd take the Maryland offer, and that's where you always wanted to be. And I feel the same way for me. But most kids now, I just don't see that as much. And maybe it's because these are 4- and 5-star guys and people are talking pro ball in their ear. And would it be better to go to Ohio State or Penn State or Maryland or Florida State? Look, in that group, it's hard to say. And I love the Terps, but it's hard to say that you wouldn't listen if Florida State wanted you, or Tennessee's getting into trying to get back up there. I know South Carolina's on the rise as a national program. It's tough. But if we got the guys, the real Maryland guys who wanted to be here, even if they aren't 4- or 5-star guys, I think they'd stick with the Terps. But I'll throw that back to you, Mason. Why do you think, and then I'm going to bring up Trayvon Diggs in that same thing. So let me do that, and then I'll throw it back to you. Trayvon Diggs, we've seen 10, 15 of his games over the past couple of years. His brother, Stefan, is the world's most famous Terp at the moment. What's going on with Trayvon? And I'll let you answer now.
Trayvon has been almost all over the place. Unofficial visits, official visits. Been to Maryland camps, Virginia camps. He's been offered by many schools such as Clemson, Penn State, Nebraska, Maryland, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. He's just the biggest wide receiver, I think, from his class.
Okay, he's going to be a junior?
He will be a junior, yes.
Is he happy? He's at Wooten right now in Montgomery County.
Yeah, he's unhappy there because the coach left the school and now he wants to go follow Coach Spinner, which was coach at Wooten.
Oh, do you know where Spinner went?
No, nobody. He has not found a job yet.
Okay, well, he had a really wide open offense, and it was fun to watch him. And boy, he is as electric as his brother. So, okay, well, we're going to talk Maryland lacrosse, both programs, men's and women's, going to the Final Four today. We're going to find out. This is Wayne Viner for Bruce Posner. We have Darian behind the glass, Mason, the intern. Thank you guys for joining us out there in Radio Land. You are listening to Viner Consulting Terp Talk on CBS Sports Radio 1580 in the nation's capital.
We are pleased to welcome Kelly & Associates Insurance Group to the TerpTalk family. For more than 35 years, Kelly & Associates Insurance Group has been known as the region's premier group insurance administrator, broker, and consultant specializing in healthcare. Kelly is also able to provide your organization with an integrated payroll solution through KTBS Payroll. The leader in benefits is now the leader in payroll too. To learn more about how Kelly and KTBS Payroll can provide your organization with a total benefits solution, contact them today at 800-972-7227. Kelly, one of the most trusted names in benefits, now offers payroll. KTBS Payroll provides a payroll solution that utilizes their innovative technology for greater accuracy, administrative efficiency, and compliance with regulatory requirements, such as the new Patient Protection and Affordable Care Acts. KTBS Payroll features management tools, reports, and services that relieve you of the details while giving you better control, ensuring you remain in compliance. Call KTBS today at 888-882-1487 to learn more about their integrated solution for payroll and benefits through KTBS Payroll. Listen up. If you want crabs, you have to head to the Costas Inn on North Point Boulevard. There is no comparison in all of Maryland for the greatest crabs and crab cakes ever. Costas also serves unbelievable steamed shrimp, Greek salads, and steaks for lunch and dinner. Nick, Pete, and Costas Triantopoulos run the perfect restaurant to go with family and friends. Give Costas Inn a call at 410-477-1975 and tell them the Terp Talk guy sent you. Terp Talk is proud to welcome Glen Burnie Transmissions as a new sponsor. Located at 7166 Ritchie Highway in Glen Burnie. For over 50 years, Glen Burnie Transmissions offers free towing from the D.C. area. Transmissions for all imports and domestics. Go to www.gbt-online.com for a quotation or call President Mark Schwartzman at 800-458-2661. That's 800-458-2661, Glen Burnie Transmissions.
Hi, I'm Johnny Holiday. I've seen a lot of great teams over the years, but not as good as the legal team at the Jacklish Law Group. Every single lawyer at the Jacklish Law Group is ranked in the top 1% of personal injury lawyers in the entire country, and we're honored yet again by Super Lawyers magazine. So if you've been injured in a truck, car, or train crash, get that great team working for you. Call the Jacklish Law Group, 301-627-8700. Can't spell Jacklish? Try www.smallfirmbigdogs.com.
Viner Consulting helps you get the most out of your business technology. We develop a technology plan for your business. There is much more than the run-of-the-mill break and fix service you are probably used to getting from your local IT tech. This is a real plan to move you forward, to bring in the latest technology at the best prices, strong support services, and a vision to lay out where you want your company to be down the road. And best of all, the plan is free to your company. Let us come and help you build your future today. Viner Consulting is a proud Mike Microsoft partner, a Lenovo partner, and an HP partner. Conveniently based in Rockville, we service the Baltimore, Washington area. You can reach us at 240-599-0140 or on the web at www.vinerconsulting.com.
Access Title Company, LLC, brings to you experience, relationship, and peace of mind. All great reasons to choose Access Title Company as your residential and commercial real estate settlement company. Choosing a reputable, experienced title company is crucial to a smooth settlement process. Our staff of attorneys and experienced personnel is committed to helping you through the complete process with personal attention, competitive rates, and prompt service. Access Title Company goes anywhere in the state of Maryland to perform your settlement at no additional cost to you. That's why we're Access Title. Please call Melanie, our operations manager, at 410-363-8785 for additional information. That's Access Title Company at 410-363-8785.
You're listening to Viner Consulting Terp Talk. Join the conversation at 866-950-5225. Once again, Bruce Posner and Wayne Viner.
Good morning, Terp fans. Yes, this is Wayne Viner. Bruce is away from the studio today, and today, Bruce's favorite segment's lacrosse time. Bryant, at 16-4, takes on our Maryland Terps, the number 7 seed. Maryland 12-3, 12 o'clock today in Hempstead, New York. Game is on ESPN2. Maryland playing to go to the Final Four. And now we're talking about that's where we see Maryland lacrosse. It's a team that should be a Final Four contender, a national championship contender, so you can win your ACC championship, the regular season. I know they didn't take care of Notre Dame there in the tournament, but this is it. It's time. So you go over to Bryant, and you go, how in the world did Bryant get here? They won the play-in game, and then they go and they beat Syracuse. And they played Siena in the play-in game, and then they beat Syracuse 10-9. I was shocked that Bryant beat Syracuse. So again, the Bulldogs are 16-4. And Mason, why don't you go over a couple of the guys who are on the team at Bryant, and then we'll talk about what Maryland has to do to win. Well, I'll go over what Maryland, I think, has to do to win as you go through your notes there. This is finally a time to get the offense turned on. Look back at last week. It was down 5-1 at halftime, and it looked like a replay of the last time we played Cornell. Last year, we lost in College Park, and 4-1. I'm talking to Bruce, who's just sick about this. I'm going, boy, with another NCAA tournament game. We think we have the better team. Can't get the offense going. And then the second half sort of becomes the miracle that we saw like when Maryland played Miami in football in 1984. You're down by an impossible margin at halftime. You roar back after everybody has given up hope. Maryland scores with 2 seconds left. Charlie Raffa manages to get the ball. Who got the last goal?
Mike Chanenchuk, 2 seconds, just whipped it right in the goal.
And pandemonium and relief, and we finally win the game. And now, a week later, that's all to me. That's ancient history, because today you get to play for the Final Four. You're playing the Bryant Bulldogs, and who do you look for on that team?
Well, you look for Kevin Massa. He and Charlie Raff are going to have a battle today. He leads the NCAA with face-off percentage. Charlie Raff is in second. So right there, Maryland has to win the X, I think, to get the W.
Oh, that's a lot of X's and W's there. I agree. Maryland has this huge advantage on getting the face-offs and maintaining time of possession. As of late, they haven't scored. One of the things that, when I said, what do you have to do to win today? You got to shoot. You can't just hold the ball. Maryland seems to be slowing down and slowing down. The games are getting slower and slower, and the score is going down and down. And when the score is super low, What?
Maryland doesn't win when the score is super low.
They did last week.
Yeah, it wasn't really that low. I mean, the score was 9-8.
To me, Maryland's a team that should be still, even in the NCAA, scoring 13, 14 goals. The margin is too low. You make a mistake and you lose. The Notre Dame game, to me, looked a lot like this Cornell game where Maryland had the ball a lot, didn't score, and suddenly that advantage goes away and the time's ticking and people get tight. There's a lot of freshmen out there and you don't know what's going to happen. I need the freshmen to score today. You're going to need to take your share of the face-off wins, and you just want Nico to be Nico, and I think you get the win.
Yeah, definitely. And one guy you saw early in the game last week, Connor Cannizzaro, was taking almost all the shots. I think Maryland needs to pass the ball around, get it to Shannon Shuck, get Carlson in the game. Carlson definitely saved Maryland last week with his goals. He's
been my favorite Terp. And for those who want to see an up close of Jay Carlson, we did an interview that's posted up on TerpTalk. And if you can't find it on TerpTalk, you can go to Wayne Terp on YouTube. So Maryland 12, 2:30, Albany and Notre Dame. Albany, shock of shockers, beats Loyola, which was sort of everybody's sleeper pick. That boy, Loyola had a tough draw in this tournament. They get the Thompson triplets, or the trio, the two brothers and the cousin, and they're amazing. Who do you have in the Albany-Notre Dame game?
Oh, I got Albany. Albany with Lyle, Kai. They're just going to put the ball in the net. And Notre Dame scored 19 one game, but they only won by 1 goal. They're a very low-scoring team. I think Albany's going to get the W.
That 19-18 game was against Army?
Yeah.
All right, Denver and Drexel. That one's in Newark tomorrow at 2:30. Newark, Delaware, not Newark, New Jersey. That'd be dangerous. Who do you have in Denver and Drexel?
I got Denver. I think they're a sleeper pick to go to the championship game.
So Denver's the number 5 seed. I'm going the Drexel Dragons because I need a dragon to win something. And then, boy, talk about your arch nemesis playoff game. The Hopkins Blue Jays, the Duke Blue Devils. Duke's number 1 seed. Hopkins unseeded. Hopkins beat Virginia last week. That's at noon tomorrow at the University of Delaware in Newark. Who you got?
I got Johns Hopkins.
So do I. I think it's going to be Maryland and Hopkins, M&T Bank Stadium, Final Four. Boy, it's a huge back-to-back weeks for Baltimore Preakness today. Final Four at M&T Bank Stadium next Saturday. First game next week, 1 o'clock. Second game, which would be the Maryland game, would be at 3:30. Let's hope it. Maryland, Albany. It'd be great for lacrosse. It's going to be great for us. And then hopefully the championship game on Monday, the 26th. Literally turning the page. The women, the number 1 Maryland women's lacrosse team. They have Duke today. I don't see this one as close as it could be. Duke was 9-7 in the regular season. Maryland was 19-1. Who you got?
I got Maryland. They just dominated Duke when they played them in the regular season.
Okay, I'll go with that. The other teams, other 6 teams playing for 3 other spots is Northwestern and Florida. Florida has been on the rise in women's sports. Carolina and Virginia, and also ACC battle. And then Boston College and Syracuse. I'm just taking Maryland as chalk all the way down the line. That one, that Final Four is at the Johnny Unitas Stadium in Towson on the 23rd and the 25th. So hopefully we have Maryland going to the Final Four, both the men's and the women's side. Of course, Maryland is powered by Taylor Cummings and Megan Dowdy, both of them looking to be Tewaaraton Award winners. So we got 2 people in the finals list. All right. Meanwhile, back at Maryland, you were mentioning on the football side, Mosey LaRose, who's a starting left tackle, managed to get himself suspended for this upcoming season, and he joins Abner Logan as 2 Terps who started a lot of games last year who will not be playing on the 2014 Big Ten inaugural season. So sorry, I forgot to mention that. And also, Zach Kerr, for those who watched Maryland win the Military Bowl a couple years ago, Zach Kerr and Travis Hawkins Both were Terps. They both transferred to Delaware. Both of them have been signed to NFL contracts as unrestricted free agents who are unsigned in the draft. Kerr goes to the Colts. Travis Hawkins, a New England Patriot. Okay, in other Terpy-type news, the baseball team. Boy, oh boy, for the first time in a long time, I know they just swept West Virginia. Maryland go in the ACC tournament. Only the top 6 teams go to the ACC tournament. Maryland could be the 4 seed. I just think it's an amazing turnaround for the Terps, who were sort of on the periphery of college baseball. They weren't really big news even in College Park. 34 wins this season, 9 in a row, Mason. I know you like watching the Terp baseball team.
Yeah, they're actually fun to watch this year. They're winning games. As you said, 9 in a row. They scored actually the most runs in about 15 years, 21 against Pitt.
Now, Pitt, not known as the biggest baseball power in the world. So, we're going to be watching Maryland baseball moving in the Big Ten as an up-and-coming power. Lacrosse is going to be dominant. You mentioned soccer earlier. What are we doing on that soccer schedule? I hear that we got Indiana and an amazing thing that we thought would never happen, Maryland playing Georgetown. And that one's going to be in Ludwig. But who else is on that soccer schedule?
Oh, Maryland's got big games against Stanford and California out in their California tour. They got, they have Indiana and Bloomington. They won the championship 2 years ago. That's your Big Ten soccer power.
Yeah, I think Maryland's going to be a dominant soccer power in the Big Ten. For once again, just like with basketball, I'm going to miss the games against Duke and Carolina. But if you play Georgetown at Ludwig and you get Indiana coming in and those Cal games, I know Sasha Sharovsky plays those games to get Maryland national exposure and get them used to being in an NCAA tournament type environment. It's worked. But maybe when Cal comes to College Park or Stanford comes to College Park, we get those 10,000 person crowds. So we got the news coming up from Freddie from Boca, so stay through us after the break. We'll get to Freddie. This is Wayne Viner with Mason and Darian behind the glass. You're listening to Viner Consulting Terp Talk. We're here for the vacationing Bruce Posner on 1580 CBS Sports Radio in Washington, D.C.
We are pleased to welcome Kelly & Associates Insurance Group to the TerpTalk family. For more than 35 years, Kelly & Associates Insurance Group has been known as the region's premier group insurance administrator, broker, and consultant specializing in healthcare. Kelly is also able to provide your organization with an integrated payroll solution through KTBS Payroll. The leader in benefits is now the leader in payroll too. To learn more about how Kelly and KTBS Payroll can provide your organization with a total benefits solution, contact them today at 800-972-7227. Kelly, one of the most trusted names in benefits, now offers payroll. KTBS Payroll provides a payroll solution that utilizes their innovative technology for greater accuracy, administrative efficiency, and compliance with regulatory requirements, such as the new Patient Protection and Affordable Care Acts. KTBS Payroll features management tools, reports, and services that relieve you of the details while giving you better control, ensuring you remain in compliance. Call KTBS today at 888-882-1487 to learn more about their integrated solution for payroll and benefits through KTBS Payroll. Terp Talk is proud to welcome Glen Burnie Transmissions as a new sponsor. Located at 7166 Ritchie Highway in Glen Burnie. For over 50 years, Glen Burnie Transmissions offers free towing from the D.C. area. Transmissions for all imports and domestics. Go to www.gbt-online.com for a quotation or call President Mark Schwartzman at 800-458-2661. That's 800-458-2661, Glen Burnie Transmissions. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes is touching millions of lives, one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been helping coaches and athletes on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels to fulfill their God-given potential. FCA is the largest Christian sports organization in America and focuses on serving local communities by equipping, empowering, and encouraging people to make a difference. To learn more about the FCA in your area, call Mark Stevens at 301-363-8611 or visit their website, metromdfca.org. Are you looking for great seats? You want to see the Terps play Duke or Carolina? Want Oriole Yankee tickets? NASCAR, Van Halen? You name it. GreatSeats.com has them. Nothing beats having great seats, and you can find them by calling 800-853-SEAT or check out Great Seats ticket inventory at www.greatseats.com. Call 800-853-SEAT. Tell them the Turf Talk guy sent you.
Have you been injured in a car accident, by medical error, while on the job, or because of the fault of another? Are your medical payments and paperwork piling up, or are you out of work and losing wages that you can't afford to lose, all because someone else was negligent? If so, get the representation and individual attention you deserve from the law firm of Grant Posner, 443-388-4777, or go to BeMoreLaw.com for your free consultation.
I'm Grant Posner. I began this firm with the belief that all clients should get the individual attention that they deserve. When you call my office, you deserve to speak directly to an attorney. Call today at 443-388-4777 or visit BeMoreLaw.com and schedule your free consultation with an attorney today. Get the individual attention and experience you deserve for all of your injury, traffic, or criminal legal needs. And don't forget, for personal injury cases, there are no legal fees or expenses unless we win. Call today, 443-388-4777 or BeMoreLaw.com.
You're listening to Viner Consulting Terp Talk. Join the conversation at 866-950-5225. Once again, Bruce Posner and Wayne Viner.
Good morning, Terp fans. This is Wayne Viner. Bruce is away today. We've got Mason. We got Freddie from Boca. We got Darian. And, we got some... We were talking about lacrosse, and the Bayhawks, one of the best values in pro sports in the area, is the Chesapeake Bayhawks. They play out in Annapolis at the Navy Marine Corps Stadium. And Saturday, May 17th, hey, that's today, 7 o'clock tonight, after you watch Maryland beat Bryant to the Final Four and watch the women beat Duke, you can watch the 2013 MLL champion Chesapeake Bayhawks hosts the Florida Launch. I think that's a really cool name, with the launch pad down there in Florida. They have lacrosse greats Joe Sanofsky, Casey Powell, and Garrett Thule. And the Navy Marine Corps Stadium, a great place to take the family, affordable, fun, fast game, and you can watch the greatest lacrosse players in the world. For tickets, you can call the box office at 866-99-HAWKS. That's 866-99-HAWKS. Bayhawks hosts a launch today in Annapolis, 7 o'clock. And for those who want to hear more about the Bayhawks, the head coach will be on the Sports Maven, and that's at 9 o'clock on 1300 CBS Sports Radio, and you can listen live on TerpTalk.com. So, Freddie?
Yes.
Big news around the D.C. area, the Wizards. And the question is that a good season, or do you really think they could have done more? Freddie, what do you think?
I think it was a good season. I think it was important for Wall and Beal to experience the playoffs. And I think next year, hopefully they can sign Gortat and Reza, who are free agents. It was a nice team to watch, very unselfish. Several guys could take over the game offensively. They played good defense. Good year, but I think when the Wizards took the lead at 74-73 with a Beal three-pointer in the last game, that the Indiana's experience playing the playoffs, they didn't get rattled and they settled back and they went and won the game, and because they know how to win games like that, where the Wizards are still learning how to get to that point. But this was a big step and probably saved Grunfeld and
Randy
Whitman's job. By the way, real quickly, I want to thank Mason for reminding me about the Duke game when Mitchell missed a short shot at the end of the game. What would you like to do next? Give me a paper cut and pour lemon juice in it?
Hey, we didn't bring up the Michigan State NCAA game. We're staying away from that stuff.
Thank God. Or the Maryland NC State
the greatest game ever played, the 103-102?
Or the Kenny Denard taking out Buck Williams play. Yes, there's a lot of games like, or the UCLA game.
Or when Alvin Blunt fumbled on the 7-yard line against Penn State in 1985 after Ramon Paredes, I think, missed an extra point or a short field goal.
Or when Maryland lateraled the ball in the opening kickoff against Penn State and Jimmy Cephalo intercepted the lateral for a touchdown, and I think they won by 2 points that game.
Well, boy, this has been your painful life with Freddie from Boca. For more memories that'll just leave you in tears, call 1-800.
Sponsored by hemorrhoids.
Right. Okay, so the thing that I saw that was missing with the Wizards, and Darren's a big NBA guy, he writes a lot about the Knicks, is when the Pacers started to back down the Wizard guards and small forwards, takes Lance Stevenson, Mr. Born Ready. We didn't have anybody physically who could stand up to him. They got some wide body guys, and we have thin, fast guys who, much like the Capitals, who can get up and down the ice during the regular season. When the playoffs come and you start grinding, they don't have the physical bodies. I think they need an actual lockdown defender. I'll throw that over to Darian.
Yeah, well, I think they also need more than the lockdown defender. They need another scorer. When I watched that game and watching the whole series, they're about a player away from taking that next step. You know, you're talking about Eastern Conference Finals. You want to be a real championship contender. They need another scorer. I think Beal and Wall can be good defenders, especially on the perimeter. If they can keep Ariza, he's your lockdown defender. They need another guy to score. That's what they need. If they can't sign Ariza and they can't sign Gortat, I know this sounds crazy. I wrote about this in an article about a couple weeks ago. If they have the cap space, you should go after Carmelo Anthony. If you get Carmelo Anthony, he can be that third guy, that scorer you need to kind of put you over the hump. Because just watching that series, I felt like if they had a guy like that type of guy in the series, they could have won the series.
Carmelo Anthony? This guy's poison.
That would be, in my opinion, a terrible move.
Why do you say that?
Why? Because Carmelo Anthony's all about Carmelo Anthony. Matter of fact, with Phil Jackson taking over the Knicks, he sort of said to Carmelo, you're very happy to play here if you want to take less money. And I think Phil would be just as pleased if Carmelo walked away from the Knicks.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go, not that we're picking favorites here. I think I'm going with Freddie. I was thinking that the Wizards would pick up a guy, a Gooden or somebody like that, but not who's already 37 years old.
What the Wizards really could use is a really good power forward, somebody who can play with his back to the basket, who gives them bulk and rebounding ups in a low post presence. Scoring is the problem with the Wizards sometimes is Nene doesn't play all the time, but when he plays, he can score. Gortat, they sign him obviously, he can score. Ariza, he could take over a game. Beal can take over a game. Wall can take over a game. Their biggest problem was, that they've never gotten this far, particularly Beal and Wall, who are the foundation of the team.
All right, well, staying in the same building, but shifting sports, the Capitals still don't have a coach. They still don't have a general manager. And now in Pittsburgh, Ray Shero, who put together the Penguins team, has been let go. And I think Dan Bielema is going to be following him soon because the Penguins couldn't win the Stanley Cup. I'm wondering if one or both of those guys couldn't end up being with the Caps. Right now, I see the Caps having a lack of direction. Freddie, you follow the hockey scene enough to weigh in?
I follow the hockey scene, and the problem with the Caps is they have a tremendous player in Ovechkin who also has a tremendous salary. So, it's difficult if they wanted to move him because not many teams could afford him, but how do you find the right mix around a player? They've had great players. Mike Green, they have...
Well, Mike Green used to be great. I'm thinking maybe he could trade Ovechkin for Carmelo Anthony. I think that'd be a good switch there.
Well, I don't know how well Carmelo can skate.
Well, I don't know how well Ovechkin can shoot, but at least the salary caps wouldn't be affected. You could swap those guys even up.
The interesting thing is the interest that Wayne Gretzky has shown as taking over the team and then letting him run the entire operation.
Boy, that would be. Once again, we're importing people. I'm not so sure that he did a great job in Phoenix, although he got tied up with some trouble there. When didn't he own part of the Phoenix Coyotes and his wife ran off the rails there?
Something like that. I mean, it's again, the question would be is like Michael Jordan. I mean, guys who are great as players, but does that transfer to being administrators?
I don't know if it does. In basketball, most of the guys who you see coming in and being great coaches, the position they play is point guard. Now, Steve Kerr wasn't a point guard, more of a shooting guard out of Arizona. Played a lot with the Bulls. He gained his notoriety there. Darian, the Knicks really wanted Steve Kerr. What went wrong there?
Well, it's basically proximity. Basically, he lives in the Bay Area, so he did not want to move all the way to New York or back and forth with his family, going back and forth. It was just a better situation. I mean, when you look at both rosters as well, I mean, the Golden State Warriors have the better roster at this point than the New York Knicks have. When you have Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, David Lee, Bogut to work with, where the Knicks could be losing Carmelo Anthony in this offseason. You know, Amari Stoudemire and Tyson Chandler still taking up cap space. They really don't have a point guard, as reported yesterday. Phil was trying to trade Raymond Felton. So Golden State was just a better situation. Now, if I'm in the Knicks, I will make that call to Mark Jackson. I think, Mark Jackson coming off the back-to-back playoff seasons with the Golden State Warriors, he turned the franchise around. They were pretty much in the dumps before he got there. And if they were to get Mark Jackson, I think it would go very well over with the fan base there in New York.
It would. He played for St. John's?
Yeah,
yes, he did.
John's. And one of the biggest problems with the Knicks is the owner, James Dolan. That franchise has been in disarray since he took ownership, and there's not many people there that really like it. I read a story in the Daily News, I think, where Kerr actually talked to Marv Alpert, and Alpert said that nobody wants to be there. And how much that weighed on Kerr's decision. Again, he had ties to the West Coast, ties to the Warriors, and as I mentioned, it's a better roster, but tough to play when you have an owner who meddles and disrupts things.
Are you talking about the Redskins or the Knicks? Or is that the Orioles?
The Redskins, the Knicks, for a while, the Orioles, some fellow out who has an L.A. team.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, staying in the same building as the Knicks, their other tenant in Madison Square Garden, the Rangers. Wow, what a comeback against the Penguins. They were down and out, 3-1, and they come back and win it. And that was a great couple minutes, as always, in a Game 7 coming down in the end. Crosby and Malkin trying to desperately score, and Lundqvist keeping them out of there. A great defense.
What has happened to Sidney Crosby? He can't put the biscuit in the basket.
He's disappeared. But look, between the two greatest players in hockey a couple of years ago, both of them sort of trending down a bit. Both of them have complete turnover in the GM and the coaching thing, and maybe the era of Crosby and Ovechkin is over. It's hard to have a second act in hockey to be the man past 28, 29 years old. It's a very young man's game.
Speaking of the Preakness, which is down the road in Baltimore.
Well, I was getting to that. But yeah, that's just a horse race. I'm not sure who's going to win that. Yeah, but you are our racing guy. Go ahead and give us a couple minutes on the Preakness. Well,
I am going to be rooting, and I think, let me first say that it's not a very impressive group of 3-year-olds that are in training. The winner of the Preakness, the Derby California Chrome, won the race pretty easily in a very slow time. He's been dominating the West Coast. He's a horse you can root for. They cost the owners $8,000. They have a 77-year-old trainer. The owners, he's the only horse they own. So with all these sheikhs from the Middle East with billions of dollars and people from the conglomerates from England and Ireland and America with all these multi-millions paying $5-10 million a horse, here's a horse that you could have bought the mare, the sire, and the foal, which California Chrome, for less than $20,000 for the three of them. So racing hasn't had a Triple Crown in 35 years. This horse dominated so far, and I'm looking for the chestnut with the white face to win again today.
What is the story about the horse has a blister on its throat?
Oh, well, it was explained yesterday by the trainer. It's like having a sore throat. He wasn't coughing. They gave him some liquid lozenges. That's the concern, though, because a lot of times, particularly in this situation where it's a one-horse operation with a trainer that's always been in the business for over 50 years, has this one shot in a lifetime. Are they doing what's right for the horse? I'm hopeful the horse is healthy, but it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't win and that was a problem. They ran him because, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But hopefully it's just a little blip that didn't cause the horse to lose any kind of training. Supposedly he's eating well, which is horses normally, if they don't feel well, won't eat well.
Mm-hmm.
So, you don't know. But it's never a good sign when you hear something that's physically wrong with any performer.
So there were 19 horses who ran the Derby. There's 10 who are running the Preakness. And I see one name. I'm not the biggest racing guy, but Bob Baffert's name with Gary Stevens on Bayern certainly jumps off the page to me. What do you think about that one?
The only horse I really like, and I'm not saying I like any of these other than California Chrome, is a horse called Kid Cruz who has won over the Pimlico track before and has nice breeding, and I think that's a horse that could get up there and be part of the exact or the triple. The rest of the field, again, I'm not that crazy about. I think there's enough pace in the race if California Chrome can get a good break in this layoff of maybe third or fourth, that the race should be to his liking. The only time I could see him having problems if he gets boxed in by other horses and he really can't run. But he looks much the best, but you never know with horse racing, like in any other sport. You got to do it on the field.
Well, staying in Baltimore, the Orioles still in first place. And boy, it's great to say that. It's great to see that on top of the standings. But as you've been saying, and of course Bruce has been saying all season, Tommy Hunter, not the answer as the closer. So they finally go to Zach Britton. What do you think of Britton? And then your guy, Gosman, got in for a couple innings the other day, and, he wasn't as good as Britton was in closing out the game. What are your thoughts?
As for Britton, I would like to see him eventually be a starter. It's very rare to find a left-hander who throws hard and has a good sinker, and it's a critical pitch at a ballpark like Camden Yards, but Tommy Hunter is a high ball pitcher and had never closed before really of any kind of, other than a game here or there. And though he was pretty successful, I think 11 out of 13 chances, hitters were batting over 300. I think there were like 28 base runners on base in 16 innings. He was ready to implode and had two bad games in a row. Unfortunately, Buck made the move quickly rather than stay with him because he didn't have the track record, and Britton with a 1-2-3 inning, 3 ground balls is exactly what they needed, and I see no reason why he won't go back to Britton next time there's a safe opportunity. For Gausman, doesn't appear he's ready to be a major league pitcher at this point. He has a very live arm, throws the ball very hard but very straight, and doesn't have much command, which means he throws strikes but doesn't throw the ball where he wants to. So hitters the second and third time around are able to time his fastball, and because he's not able to throw his changeup or his slider very effectively, he's stuck with the one pitch a lot of times, and that's where he gets hurt when players can time it. As I would use, if Britton doesn't work out as a closer, I would consider using Gausman for this year as a closer. He was successful in the bullpen last year. The reason is he could throw the ball by people the first time around. So for one inning, he can dominate just using the fastball.
Well, hopefully.
And those who are yell and scream, well, he's a starter and this and that, hopefully that's where he'll wind up because you don't want to draft the guy fourth in the draft in the first round as a relief pitcher. But the team has a small window of opportunity to win this year and next because of possible losing players to free agency. Hardy this year, Nelson Cruz this year, next year Davis and Wieters. So you got to do, when you have an opportunity to win, you got to take that shot. And for Gausman, I would use him as a closer if the need be, and let him blow the ball by people, and then extend his arm out in winter ball and let him build his arm in innings up, and let him work on his command for his other pitches in the winter ball and spring training next year, and hope that next year he can get to the point where he can start. Or hopefully, right now back in Norfolk, he can still needs a lot of work, but maybe he can, as the season goes on, command the fastball and change up and slider, and then be able to move up and be a successful starter. But Orioles have a dismal record of identifying and drafting pitchers and developing them. The last really good starter they drafted and developed. Okay,
this has been Wayne Viner along with Mason Viner, who's got his favorite quarterback in town with the Redskins, which is Tommy Reese from Notre Dame. And And Darian, thank you for listening to Viner Consulting Terp Talk on 1580 Sports Radio in Washington, D.C.
Kelly, one of the most trusted names in benefits, now offers payroll. KTBS Payroll provides a payroll solution that utilizes their innovative technology for greater accuracy, administrative efficiency, and compliance with regulatory requirements, such as the new Patient Protection and Affordable Care Acts. KTBS Payroll features management tools, reports, and services that relieve you of the details while giving you better control, ensuring you remain in compliance. Call KTBS today at 888-882-1487 to learn more about their integrated solution for payroll and benefits through KTBS Payroll. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes is touching millions of lives, one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been helping coaches and athletes on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels to fulfill their God-given potential. FCA is the largest Christian sports organization in America and focuses on serving local communities by equipping, empowering, and encouraging people to make a difference. To learn more about the FCA in your area, call Mark Stevens at 301-363-8611 or visit their website, metromdfca.org. Atman's Delicatessen has finally expanded into the Potomac area. Created originally in Baltimore in 1915, it's been a long time, but the best deli in the nation has come to the Washington area. Everyone is ecstatic that now you can find Atman's Deli at Tuckerman Lane in the Cabin John Shopping Center. Mark Atman, a tremendous Terp fan, brings his tremendous talents to the Washington area when it comes to delicatessen. Open from 8 to 8 for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Atman's features its corned beef and pastrami, but certainly has all the great deli food available. Call 301-765-3354 for catering or to order ahead. That's Atman's Deli, 301-765-3354 in the Cabin John Shopping Center. Viner Consulting helps you get the most out of your business technology. We develop a technology plan for your business. There is much more than the run-of-the-mill break and fix service you are probably used to getting from your local IT tech. This is a real plan to move you forward, to bring in the latest technology at the best prices, strong support services, and a vision to lay out where you want your company to be down the road. And best of all, the plan is free to your company. Let us come and help you build your future today. Viner Consulting is a proud Microsoft partner, a Lenovo partner, and an HP partner. Conveniently based in Rockville, we service the Baltimore, Washington area. You can reach us at 240-599-0140 or on the web at www.vinerconsulting.com.
Access Title Company, LLC, brings to you experience, relationship, and peace of mind. All great reasons to choose Access Title Company as your residential and commercial real estate settlement company. Choosing a reputable, experienced title company is crucial to a smooth settlement process. Our staff of attorneys and experienced personnel is committed to helping you through the complete process with personal attention, competitive rates, and prompt service. Access Title Company goes anywhere in the state of Maryland to perform your settlement at no additional cost to you. That's why we're Access Title. Please call Melanie, our operations manager, at 410-363-8785 for additional information. That's Access Title Company at 410-363-8785.
Have you been injured in a car accident by medical error while on the job or because of the fault of another? Are your medical payments and paperwork piling up, or are you out of work and losing wages that you can't afford to lose all because someone else was negligent? If so, get the representation and individual attention you deserve from the law firm of Grant Posner, 443-388-4777, or go to BeMoreLaw.com for your free consultation.
I'm Grant Posner. I began this firm with the belief that all clients should get the individual attention that they deserve. When you call my office, you deserve to speak directly to an attorney. Call today at 443-388-4777 or visit BeMoreLaw.com and schedule your free consultation with an attorney today. Get the individual attention and experience you deserve for all of your injury, traffic, or criminal legal needs. And don't forget, for personal injury cases, there are no legal fees or expenses unless we win. Call today, 443-388-4777 or BeMoreLaw.com.
The opinions expressed in the following paid program do not necessarily represent those of WJFK, CBS Radio, its employees, or sponsors.